Hey guys, we are here to meet with James Mearon Morrison, who is a local singer here in Grande Prairie. So let's go.
We're here today at the Grande Prairie Gallery, the place where I am currently working.
We'll start with you just telling us a bit about yourself.
I am James Mearon Morrison. I have a record company, Papillion Record Company. We work closely with Long Story Records out of Fairview, and we try to promote peace country music in the area and just kind of keep tabs of the cool things that are happening.
And you're also an artist yourself, right?
Oh yeah, I do music. I play folk music. People ask what I play, and I'll tell them piano. That's not very nice, but I tell them I play piano. I play guitar. I sing. The biggest kind of everyone always tells their whole CV like I was nominated, won this or whatever. So the biggest things I've done are probably I played in the Bear Creek Folk Fest here a couple of years ago, and I've worked for the boys choir. I was in that since I was 7, and now I'm 28.
So what got you into music?
It's one of those things that could be a little bit. I'm not necessarily someone who like believes in higher power or anything, but it's one of those things where if you're a rational person, you might look at it and think of it as kind of a fate thing. So I auditioned for a grade 9 talent show, but I was late, and the teacher was gracious and let me participate anyway. So I went and did this talent show, and I'm a grade 9. I think I've gotten a lot better since then. But anyway, at this talent show, there was one of the organizers for an event. It was like a We Day adjacent event, Mighty Feast Day. And there's a B storyline too. So my mom got a ticket to an event with her friend, and her friend's husband wasn't available, so my mom got the extra ticket, and they were sitting at the table with this event organizer, and just over the drinks and the event, he was saying, oh, there was this kid at this school, and I would love for him to play in him, but I have no idea who he is. And my mom was like, that's my kid. So I got to go play at Mighty Feast Day in front of, a couple thousand grade school students. Well, I was in grade school myself, so that was pretty cool. And just because I've been trying to get back there ever since.
That's so cool.
Maybe like older audiences now.
What did you play in the grade 9 talent show?
I played Let It Be by the Beatles.
Ah,
Yeah,
nice.
and this was like, all my training at that point had been like choir, so it's very proper British tall vowels. Not the way I sing now. After graduating high school, I went to GPRC, which is now the Polytechnic, and I went to their music program, but it was a little classical for my taste. So then I went to MacEwan, which is a little bit jazz for my taste, because I like folk music, but I think between the combination of the two, I learned a lot, and I sing a lot more colloquial, the right word? Colloquially.
Yeah. That's like when you're speaking the language, the place you're in. Is that what that means?
A little bit. So
kind of.
they were different programs. At MacEwan, I went there, and this is how I used to sing. Like, this is the first song I wrote, so I don't really remember how it goes. There it is. Now the garden's compromised and green has gone to grey. How a time for trial is near. And it's like very classical. And I went to the jazz school, and they're like, why do you sing like that? Some a little bit more of what I'm doing these days would be like, it was down at old Joe's Bollard, the corner of the square. They were serving the drinks as usual. The usual crowd was there. Let her go, God bless her. Wherever she may be, she can search the wide world over, never find a sweet man like me.
You just played super cool songs. Okay, so you sing and play guitar and play piano and keyboard and things.
Keyboard, I have a band. I do this. I have a degree in recording and production.
What do you think was the biggest learning that you took away from school?
I think school, like, there's lots of people who are really good just not going to school, but it filled in a lot of gaps for me. So I think there's things that I'm just like have a more well-rounded knowledge base. So there's some like really good like sound engineers, musicians, and like I go to the open mics a lot, and you'll talk with them and they'll kind of tell you something. You tell right away who knows their stuff. So in the musicology class, they tried to just make music a hard science, and they're like, okay, if you double the frequency of whatever pitch you're hearing, whatever sound, then it'll sound an octave, what we would call higher, but whether it's higher or lower, that's just like made up directions we put on it. So they really tried to make music into a science, and they're like, okay, an octave is pleasing, and that's actually common across all cultures, is that all music has an octave, which is a doubling of frequency. And then usually in most sounds you would hear like if you like double the frequency, and then oh man, it's been a while since I've been in school. The next thing is like the perfect fifth, and then that kind of makes sense. And then there's a whole order of different overtone series. So that's kind of what our 12-tone system is built on, is this overtone series where you get the I don't think I'm strong enough. Got to work out more. So you got your octave, and then you got your fifth, and then like your major third, and then there's more and more intervals, but they break down. So our keyboards that we use today are I don't want to get my facts wrong. You might need a fact checker on this one.
You could say anything and we believe you. I never went to school for music, so I don't know.
Yeah, so it's built on like a equal tempered tuning. So they kind of just like approximated, because the math doesn't actually work, it breaks down. And they just like, okay, here's the octave, and we're going to divide it into 12. And that's our keyboard. Music is very cultural and subjective, and it's like if you go somewhere and you hear if you hear a music that you don't listen to a lot, it's very jarring until your brain can figure out the patterns. I mean, I don't want to say anything that gets me canceled.
No, that's
but
fine.
Like hip hop music or whatever, that's not my wheelhouse. And I think it relies a lot more on rhythm and lyrics, where like the music I play relies a lot more on like harmony. And harmony isn't even a necessary part of lots of kinds of music. There was a guy making an argument that I think he's saying that like hip hop is not real music because there's no harmony in it. That's not a valid argument, because like in other cultures, dance is an integral part of music, and if you're not dancing to your music, it's not really music. And so if you're not dancing to a prelude or like a Bach prelude, then is Bach really music? So anyway, there's a very large cultural component to music, and I think that's what makes it interesting.
You were talking before, like you started playing one of your old songs that you didn't remember, and then one of your newer songs, and they were like pretty different. But what is your inspiration for writing music?
Well, I guess I like the lyrics. I mean, I'm a singer, I guess. That's first. I like music with a message. I think it's a good way to convey complex ideas in a way that's maybe understandable, relies a little bit more on emotion.
So how do you go about finding that message? Like, what sparks the message that you want to say?
I wrote a song called Dying for Freedom, and I kind of started writing it when there was like the convoy protests in Ottawa, and then like at the same time there was like a war breaking out in Ukraine, and it's like these guys protesting the convoy or protesting the Liberal government is like as tyrannical, is like ridiculous when you just realize that like in Europe they're literally being invaded, literally under tyranny. So I wrote a song about that. Maybe I'll play this song. Oh, I'm weary and tired I've raised my flag, fighting for freedom in a foreign land. I'd man the rampart and I'd make my stand. I'd be dying for freedom in a foreign land. If my cause is worthy, may the righteous prevail. Or if I'm misguided, may they find victory still. As I repent, having stood by when hardship carried the day, I'll be wishing I left home, well, I'm wishing I had stayed. But I'm unsteady and I can't find ground. Was I flying, falling, floating, and drowned? There's a line you cross when you don't know the way. Left to right to wrong, I won't stray. Oh, with passion I was fervent and justified. I burned with conviction and God on my side. Against the forces of indifference, cruelty and wrath, now I will find my resolve to walk my own path. But I'm unsteady and I can't find ground. Was I flying, falling, floating, drowned? There's a line you cross when you don't know the way. Left to right to wrong, I want to stray. Oh, I'm weary and tired, God lay me down, that I might rest for a while and know better my ground. I've been hoping against hope for brighter days. So come tomorrow, I'll walk my own path, my own way. Come tomorrow, I'll walk my own path, my own way. So with that one, it's like, I don't know, I showed one friend and he's like, yeah, it's like, I like it, but it's not very catchy. I was like, then I had another, I played at a bar and like almost no one was there. And that guy was like, yeah, I was in Afghanistan and it's like really moved me. Yeah, it's interesting how people, it affects different people in different ways, and you write songs. And I think it's about people more than about the music.
Did you start writing your own music, or how did you start actually writing your own music?
I was in college. I wrote a song called Fall from Grace. It was a little bit of a breakup, but also it's more about, I was talking about, again, maybe I'm a lyric songwriter, but I was talking about the Garden of Eden and how you're kicked out of the Garden of Eden and you've lost your immortality, but you've discovered love, and now love is immortal, and like the fact we're here is a testament to that.
Love is the answer.
Yeah, I should have just been like, all you need is love. That would have been more catchy.
But it's deeper when there's, I don't know, a different way. There's a different way to tell the story, you know? Yeah. Who is your biggest musical inspiration?
I actually don't find I'm necessarily inspired. Like, obviously, I'm influenced by their music and the music I hear. Most of the music I listen to is actually, like, I have Spotify, but I don't listen to it a whole lot. I mostly listen to podcasts. So the music that I hear is the music my friends play at the open mics, or I draw inspiration from other mediums.
In your dream world, who would you want to collab with?
Oh, probably some of the guys I worked with.
Do you think you'll collab with them on the documentary you're making?
No, I don't think so. It's kind of a lowbrow thing.
You'll never know until you ask. Do you want to talk about the documentary?
Yeah, I think that'd be great.
Yeah.
So we are making the tell-all music documentary of the music scene of the Peace region.
What was the inspiration for creating the documentary?
I think there's some really talented musicians in the Peace region. I was talking with a friend. She was saying that she went to Nashville for like a music conference, which is kind of where you go to like meet other musicians. It's a little bit pay to play, but then she met this producer like in Nashville, and then they realized that they both live in Alberta, and it's like, why did we have to go to Nashville to make this connection? We should be just working within Alberta, where we both are, because that makes more sense. So I wanted to highlight a bit. There's an awesome music scene in Alberta and in the Peace region specifically, and I don't think people need to go so far afield to, experience your own culture of music.
Is it just like singer-songwriters that you're talking to, or like instrumentalists, producers? Like, how wide is your scope, I guess, on artists in the Peace region?
It's a bit of everybody, but there's definitely some, I'll call them my friends characters because I think that's an accurate description of what it is at the moment. There are some really fun characters, really cool people, and the more filming we do, they just kind of stand out more, and then they're more prominent.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's some other people who will be like, why wasn't I in the trailer for the documentary? And I'll be like, oh, we just didn't get enough footage yet. And that's often the case. So if people tell me that, then I'll be like, hey, do you want to interview? Like, or what do you got going on? Tell me about your show coming up. And it's very much a vibes thing. Like, do I get along with this person? And the music, of course, has to be good music. Good music and good people. Those are the two rules.
What are the determining factors for good music and good people?
Do I like them? Do I like the music? I guess it's subjective. It's me.
Yeah. Do you prefer recording people or like playing yourself?
My favorite thing is performing in front of people live.
Live?
Yeah. All this other stuff kind of forms around it. So, you might be familiar doing your own projects, but first and foremost, I like to play music live in front of people. I think that's where you make the most real connections. If you don't have a lot of gigs, you'll spend time recording yourself to try and get more gigs. Or maybe you buy a camera and take photos of other people and try to get more gigs. It's like a networking thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's all kind of means to an end to play more live and connect with more people.
Does social media affect your industry in a positive or negative way?
Well, it definitely affects it. I think it's there are negative market externalities where it might benefit you individually to put together some ads and post them on Facebook. More people could show up to your concert. So we put on a concert recently, and we were selling tickets for $30, and we spend $50 on Facebook ads, and then it's like, okay, 70 people clicked on your ad or whatever, and of those 70, maybe like, I don't know, this is probably exaggerated, but like maybe 10 of them bought tickets. So you spend $50 and then you sold like $300 worth of tickets that you otherwise wouldn't have sold. So you're like, okay, that's $250 net. That's just like, that's good business. But where it's negative is like, if everyone's spending all their time on Facebook or Instagram or TikTok, which is designed to be addictive, maybe they get caught up doing that and they don't make it to whatever live event they might have otherwise gone to if that social media didn't exist. Anti-social media.
What are your thoughts on like connecting with other artists through social media? Because I guess it's like a way people can showcase their work and themselves, as well as like connect and meet people from around the world.
Yeah, I definitely think there's positives there, because I do that. I saw my friend in Edmonton has a show coming up on the 25th that I might not have otherwise heard about because they live in Edmonton, I live in Grande Prairie, and we don't communicate a whole lot. But it's like, oh, I'll be in Edmonton that weekend. Like, I should go to that show. So it is nice, I guess, I just made the opposite argument now. Like, yeah, advertisements target me better.
What would you say has been your proudest moment so far?
Well, despite of all the stuff I said about social media, I think it's pretty cool when you put something out and there's a bit of validation to what you're doing. So I do like that. I really like my self-promoted concerts. I think, that's something very rewarding. So if you get hired to do a festival, it's great. It's a great, there's a lot that goes into it, a lot of work, a lot of collaboration. But then you're kind of there, you're paid to go sing, you do that and it's done. But when you do it all yourself, when you have to sell the tickets, you have to hire the opener and the features, get the features together, you have to book the theater, place the ads on Facebook, make the poster, do your own little editing, filming, recording, and then you put it all together and it becomes a culmination. It's all culminated at the concert. I think the self-promoted concerts are the best.
Yeah, you get to see it all through from beginning to end.
Yeah, do the whole process.
Yeah, put in all the work. What would you say is the biggest challenge of your work and the things you do to make music?
For me in my life, I mean, obviously everyone needs some sort of money if you're living in society. But there's a lot of people who can get along fine without going to live concerts, and maybe they don't value it as much. So conveying to people that what you do is valuable is, if they don't get it, it's tricky. But you know, there's a strong community here, so and I think people do appreciate music more, and even more so every show.
On the flip side of that, what's the most rewarding part of the work that you do?
Well, it's fun, again, playing in front of people who are there to listen to you, and to hang out with them after. This is pretty fun.
What advice would you have for someone who wants to get into this industry?
Yeah, you really got to enjoy music, and you have to do it for that reason. If you're trying to get into it to be famous or make a lot of money, that's you know, you might get there, and if you work really hard, it's more likely, but it's less likely that you'll get there if you don't enjoy the music that you're doing. So make sure you're doing it for that reason.
Where can people listen to your music?
Oh,
So I was going to say, hopefully we can hear your song, I Will Not Wallow, but then I just realized you could just tell them where they can hear it.
yeah, we got, I have my own, I'm on the streaming services, James Mearon Morrison. That's Mearon, Mearon. I feel like James and Morrison, you guys got this. But I also have a channel of Papillion Record Company. Papillion Record Company started out as a school project, and it's really a glorified YouTube channel, or it was, but it's becoming more, you know, full-fledged. And we just post live acoustic recordings of Peace Region musicians.
Where do you hope to see your record company and yourself in like 5 years?
Well, in 7 years, I want to have a documentary out.
Okay, sorry, in 9 years then, where do you hope to see yourself?
5 years, you know, I like to just keep putting out songs. I kind of, you know, I was goal oriented for a while. Like I want to put out one song a month, and then, you know, over the course of years, that's like 12 posts. You know, that seems like a good output of songs, and you're not rushing it. And then I think I fell like behind on that pretty quickly, because, you know, there's other stuff going on. But then in October, like October through December, we put out like, you know, 20 songs.
There you go, you caught up.
Caught up. So, you know, I'd just like to keep putting out songs. I'd like to write more originals and feature the musicians here. I'm always encouraging people to write their own songs. We have covers out, but I'm all for paying other songwriters. Covers are more expensive because you have to license them. Mm-hmm. So if they write their own, then, you know, it doesn't cost me money. Did you hear the tagline, like Papillion Record Company? Dozens of artists making dozens of dollars. That's where we're at.
That's so fun.
That's only from streaming, though. Like the revenue we put on a concert, we do okay at that.
That's awesome. We look forward to seeing it grow. And then the last question, it doesn't have to be specific to music or your company or anything, but what would you say is the best piece of advice you've received throughout your life?
Well, what comes to mind is that life is long. You know, you got to put the effort in, but you don't need to take it too seriously, I guess. I think I worked harder when I was younger at making music, and I was taking it more seriously. But I think as I've gotten older, I've gotten better. And, you know, you still put an effort in, but you got to be doing it for the right reasons, and it's got to be fun, which is the advice I would give to other people. So I think I probably heard that from someone else.
That reminds me, I was working with this actor, and she was talking about the best advice she got, and it was from a teacher. And he was like, she's like, I was a really good student who like always worked really hard and like did exactly what I was supposed to do. And his advice was, she's like, he looked at me and he was like, slouch a little, will ya? Like, similar idea of like, life is long. It doesn't need to be taken that seriously. Like, you don't have to do everything in the moment at like such a young age. You have time to like slouch and enjoy and, you know, I don't know.
And smell the roses or something.
Yeah, exactly.
So you've done, I think last year with Grant was episode number 33, and you've done you have 5 slated for today.
Yes.
So if you ask this question at with multiple people, what's the best advice you've heard?
The best advice I've heard. Wow, turning it back on me.
Well, I feel like you had lots to draw from, just meeting all these people.
Yeah, and when I share it with you, I'll leave who it was up in the air. You'll never know who told me this. But someone once told me to take what works for you and throw the rest away, because people are always going to tell you, the advice was given to me in a certain realm of the world, but people are always going to tell you how to live your life and how to do your job and how to do things. So take the parts that work for you and get rid of the rest, because otherwise you'll just run yourself in circles trying to make other people happy.
Wow, I'm just thinking about myself in that. I gotta do more stuff for me.
Do it.
It's weird because you kind of take that as I don't take it this way at all, but if I told you best advice is be a little bit selfish. Is that?
Yeah. No. It 100% is. But I like that.
Don't be taken advantage of.
Yeah, because I think
for granted.
It's easy in life to be taken advantage of or for granted and forget that you're allowed to live your life the way that you want to and not feel like you owe it to someone else to do something the way that they want or whatever. But also take what I say with a grain of salt, because what do I know? Who knows? Not me.
Just figuring it out.
Exactly. Just living, laughing, and loving. So
you guys are great. Thank you so much.
You were awesome. Thank you so much. That was awesome.
Hi everyone. So we look a little different. Bridget's hair is not in her braids. My hair's up.
A day has passed.
Yes, a day has passed. We have
had a busy time.
Yes.
A crazy weekend. A lot has happened. Okay, we've lived 7 lives. So we're doing our wrap-up video a little late, but that's okay because we wrote notes, we remember. We're doing our wrap-up of James. It sounds weird as a person, but you were all there. You saw us talking to him. I personally was honored because he set up his camera to include us in his documentary, and we'll have to get used to that when we're famous because more people are going to try and record us.
We made it big.
We really did. Our first interview where someone else was recording, it was also hilarious to me because he was asking me questions. And I was like, this is not how this show works. This is my territory. My question asking. But it was super fun. He was really great to talk to. Very passionate, very authentic, very opinionated, not in a bad way, in a way of I think he knows what he's doing and what he thinks.
For sure.
And it was interesting talking about music as a science. At least it was to me because, I think I said in the video, I don't really think of it that way.
Yeah.
And Loki didn't know it worked that way, so.
For real. He was also really talented. Not that I was not expecting that.
Because I'm shocked.
But just the way he sang, I would not put the face to the voice. Very talented guy, very funny guy, very he's easy to get along with and makes you very comfortable in his space, which is very nice, always a plus.
And going along with his talent, I just wanted to add too, the ease of the talent was also wild to me. He was holding, I don't know if you saw it in the video, but he was holding the keyboard in his lap, so he wasn't even a flat surface. He just went for it and just whipped that out as if oh yeah, let me just sing my song.
It was very cool. Very, very cool.
Super
10 out of
awesome.
10. You should check him out, listen to his music. In 7 years?
9 years, 7, no, you're right, 7.
In 7 years, check out his documentary. We might be in it if he doesn't cut us. So.
Hopefully not. How could he? We made
We're
that.
good start. Yeah.